Hey everybody, welcome back to Pioneer Counseling. Today we're going to do another learning module, and we're going to focus on cognitive distortions. This list that you see here on the screen is a very basic list of cognitive distortions, and it gives an outline that you can review with a client and go category by category. You can give the definition and then explore examples in that client's life, either currently or in the past, or even thinking of times in the future that these distortions may come up. This is a tool that I often use. I don't necessarily take out a worksheet like this and provide it to a client. If they do need it, I can provide that. But we do it through a narrative approach. I'm very big into narrative therapy. I utilize narrative therapy often in my practice. And I feel like interweaving these sorts of tools into narrative therapy really helps attain goals, whether it's solutions focused or analytical. It really helps identify the kinds of thinkings or faulty thinkings that people may have. This is a basic tool that can be used in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, but it can also be used with many others. So what are distorted thinking, or what are distorted thoughts or distortions? Cognitive distortions are irrational thoughts that can influence your emotions. Emotions are chemical responses that our body has. We all have them. We all experience them. Every 15 minutes or so, our body flushes through a new experience, a new chemical response, a new emotion. Some people might be longer, or way shorter. So everyone experiences cognitive distortions to some degree, but in their more extreme forms, they can be harmful. So I'm reading through this sheet and you can follow along. These are the examples. The first one is magnification or minimization, exaggerating or minimizing the importance of various events in your life. One might believe that their own achievements are unimportant, or that their mistakes are excessively important, that they're bigger than they really ought to be. Catastrophizing is another version of this, where you're only seeing the worst possible outcome of a situation. I'm catastrophizing a situation. So that's a distorted way of thinking. Overgeneralization is another distortion. This is making broad interpretations from a single or few events. An example would be, I felt awkward during my job interview, therefore I am always awkward, or I'm always so awkward. Magical thinking is the next one, the belief that acts will influence unrelated situations. So various acts will influence unrelated situations. An example is, I'm a good person, and bad things should not happen to me. That is a distorted way of thinking. Think of a time where you may have thought that. I am XYZ, therefore this should not happen. I am an organized person, therefore I shouldn't be losing things, right? That might be a distortion. Personalization is the next one, the belief that one is responsible for events outside of their own control. An example here is, my mom is always upset. She would be fine if I did more to help her. The logical thought might be conducive. It might make sense, like, oh yeah, I get that. But it's actually a distortion. I'm personalizing the experience. I'm taking the emotion away from the owner and taking it upon myself. Jumping to conclusions is the next one. Interpreting the meaning of a situation with little or no evidence. Often I ask my clients, what evidences this situation or this feeling that you have? Some clients might say, oh, come to think of it, no one really said this, or no one thought that. It was more so myself, telling myself these things. Mind reading is where we're interpreting the thoughts and beliefs of others without adequate evidence. There's that evidence word again. The example is, she would not go on a date with me. She probably thinks I'm ugly. Not only are we jumping to a conclusion, but we're now mind reading. Fortune telling is another example. The expectation that a situation will turn out badly without adequate evidence. That is fortune telling. I'm prophesying or fortune telling the future. Emotional reasoning, the assumption that emotions reflect the way things really are. I feel like a bad friend, therefore I must be a bad friend. Disqualifying the positive, this is where we're recognizing only the negative aspects of a situation while ignoring the positive. One might receive many compliments on an evaluation, but only focus on the single piece of negative feedback. And that's what they're focusing on the rest of their night or the rest of their day or career even. So disqualifying the positive. The next one here is should statements. When we use should statements, it's not that it's bad or good, but it's that it's not letting you get to the source of the matter. If I say I should take the trash out, there's no moralness to taking the trash out. It's just an object going from point A to point B. However, what's the benefit? Well, my home will be less stinky. I will have a clean home. There won't be insects or animals in the house in this trash. I'll have an empty new container. So we're going to look at this should statement and try to change it around into a deeper, meaningful belief. So should statements, the belief that things should be a certain way. I should always be friendly. This is a cognitive distortion. It limits us. And lastly, all or nothing thinking. This is thinking in absolutes, absolute thinking, using the words always, never, every. An example here would be, I never do a good enough job on anything. You have restricted and cornered your reality through that cognitive distortion with that thinking. You may experience some of these, or maybe you'd like to use this resource with your clients. You probably already do if you're a clinician. It helps to use this as an assessment and see the voids and also begin to frame goals around these. If I'm not doing these things, what could I be doing differently? In what ways could I be thinking? So that's the tool. These are short learning modules. I hope you feel this is meaningful to you and helpful. Feel free to share this video and check out our others. This is our Pioneer Counseling YouTube video. Check it out and share with people that you might want to share this with. Have a good time.